Into the realm of the Sorcerer do the armies of Kislev march, into a freezing, maddened wasteland blasted by arcane energies, a place never meant for mere mortals to tread. They're outnumbered 15 to 1, and the battle's already begun. Then the winged hussars arrived, the Griffin Legion, and a host of mounted warriors, led by a Tempest Ice Witch and her Snow Leopard friend, about to put on a shocking fireworks display with lightning, thunder, and all the blizzards of the icy motherland. But Tzeentch is not an ordinary foe in Warhammer 3. They are quickly pushing themselves to the top of the meta for me, and if they're not the strongest in the game currently, they're certainly in the top 2. They are quite difficult to deal with, which may come as a shock to some people, but it really shouldn't. Barrier is super strong, cheap, unbreakable ranged fodder is super strong, deleting units from the game with ridiculous magics is super strong. Tzeentch is really strong. Topic we'll certainly take a deep dive into in the coming days, but they're certainly not unbeatable, and that is what Kislev shall try and do in this one. Beat them like a rented mule. My Ice Witch can summon Snow Leopards to her side with Guardian's Call, explode enemies around her with Glacial Blast, electrocute enemies with Biting Wind, and vortex them into oblivion with Blizzard. Some really cool looking spells in this lore. It's visually quite stunning. Let's see if they actually do anything in practice. I like the Snow Leopards quite a bit. They only cost 650 gold and have 70 melee attack against large targets with healthy dose of AP to boot. So for some cheap help in duels or cav fights, they can do a surprising amount of work at a low price point. But this build is relatively heavily focused on cavalry, so we have 2 Winged Lancers and 2 Griffin Legion behind the Kossars with some Vanguard deployed Kossovite dervishes elsewhere on the map. And there's nothing really fancy about any of them. No special tricks or attributes, just high charge bonus, good armor, fast horses, and that awesome aesthetic. Very unique style, and historically I think Winged Hussars are some of the coolest cavalry that have ever existed on Earth, so I'm quite happy to have them in Total War Warhammer. They'll be very important for me in this one. The front line is made up of Zargard with shields. I've got 4 of them, and with their silver shields, which is quite rare for infantry to have, they're tanky to pretty much everything but Kairos Fateweaver. Pink and blue horrors won't do much to them from the front, and that's true for armored Kossars as well, who I believe can fire while still retaining that high missile block chance from the front. I don't think they drop their shields when they fire their own pistols. For Tzeentch, there is a burning chariot coming to rain fire from atop its disc, moving over the woods over on my left flank, and this is a weird one. I don't really know what to think about it. It looks weird, it plays weird, it has weird performance, it's just weird. Only 9 ammo, but it can rack up quite a bit of damage in that time, and across the way comes the Architect of Fate, the Mocking Watcher, and he is every bit as terrifying as we expected going into the series. Gaze of Fate pins units in place and lowers their attack by 40, and then he can delete you from the game with Pendulum. You've already seen it in action, but he can literally take you from 100 to 0 in a single cast on infantry that costs 1200 plus gold, reliably. So as you might imagine, bringing expensive units against Tzeentch can be quite a scary proposition, what with their focus fire, nets, and powerful magic. And then there's the barrier passive to deal with. All units have it, from the Forsaken to the Lesser Demons, the Spawn, and Chaos Knights, and the Spawn have armor sundering as well. Big ass army from the boys in blue here, and 800 extra health on those Chaos Knights, which can actually be quite a bit more than that when you think about it, because that overshield will regen when they're out of combat. So if you psychocharge well with them and only go in when the shield is up, you can kind of have infinite health. In practice it doesn't work that way, but you can get a lot more health out of them than any other unit in the game. Then they're supported by Screamers, which alongside Furies provide a potent air game for Tzeentch as well. A lot of AP and bonus versus large on those Chaos Manta Rays of Doom and Destruction. And at the outset of this battle, Kairos is on the hunt. With his Gaze of Fate and Pendulum combo, no infantry is ever truly safe. The question just becomes, does he overcast it or not? Those poor Zargard are about to take the brunt of it. Thankfully, not an overcast this time, just the base spell, and they'll skedaddle on out of there with a meager half their HP and damage. No biggie. So he can actually do that twice in a row too. If he pops his Staff of Tomorrow directly after the first Pendulum, it gets rid of the cooldown, and he can cast it again. So on lower funds, and in games that are not domination, that can be very problematic when 2 of your infantry are just dead before the battle has even begun. And you can't really shoot them away either, because the barrier shield prevents you from doing so. And he has a 44% ward save ability too, so yeah. Kairos might be a powerful lord choice, hint hint, wink wink, but from an infantry perspective, I have a relatively strong rush build here. Not in terms of killing power, but Zargard will beat Forsaken, and Armored Kossar should be able to tank a lot of the shots from the horrors and probably deal with them in melee too. I don't need to kill them quickly with the infantry, I just need to tie them down and let the Griffin Legion take them to Pound Town from behind afterwards. But that Chaos Knight Screamer tandem will make things challenging when we're talking about flanking plays, and I've got a big play brewing right here. Pony Riders of Doom and some horrors about to feel the wrath of the Icy North because the Dervishes are moving in from the rear, the Griffin Legion are posturing at the edge of the tree line, and Winged Lancers also in a great spot to fully complete this round. And I'm feeling super good about how I've set that one up, but there's a potential spoiler that could break up the party here, and it comes in a blue pancake package. They killed Steve Irwin, and they might kill my Cav if I'm not careful. Those bastards. Screamers of Tzeentch can potentially outflank my own flank, and they will really mess up Cav if they get a rear charge. So I'm going for it here. Griffin Legion first into the breach, meeting up those Chaos Knights, and they'll have to get through the barrier passive before they can deal any damage. Winged Lancers in a great spot to get the full surround off, and then the Dervishes can come in from behind and tie down all the range play, kill off the pink horrors and blue horrors. But first, gotta kill those Chaos Knights, and with a hammer and anvil like that one, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Some pink flames burning a few of the models on the way in, but I'll take that trade all day. Dervishes bringing their ambush now, and I mean, this is really a perfect engagement for all of 5 seconds, because the blue horrors and now the screamers are here. They have 85 speed, Chaos Manta Rays descending from the sky, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. 60 weapon damage, a lot of that bonus was large and armor piercing. Yeah, into the back of my Winged Lancers, that's gonna hurt a lot, but a storm of magic being unleashed here. Pendulum straight up deleting Kossars from the game, literally. 3 models remaining after that, and at the exact same time, my own Ice Mage pooping out a Biting Wind and Blizzard while Chaos Knights charge right up the gut and start messing up my Armored Kossar. So everything is crack-a-lacking at once, the fireworks are popping off, and it will put New Year's and Independence Day to shame. Revel in the beauty of it. It's gorgeous. A lot of you guys probably haven't seen Lore of Tempest in action yet. It's really cool looking. But the functional output of those spells, perhaps a bit underwhelming. Quite severely so, actually. My spells will end up barely getting through the overshield. Tzeentch spells will one-shot my units. I mean, 18 Winds of Magic to deal half damage to blue horrors that cost 450 and kill 0 models. So they're still shooting at peak efficiency? Not great. And the wind spell was bad too, because the pink horrors are in loose formation. It didn't even fully get through their overshield. Meanwhile, my Kossars had a fat Cleveland steamer dumped on their chest. Feels pretty bad on that front. A little bit blobbed up over on this side. Would have preferred to get a better flank with those Dervishes, but only just now through the overshield, and my Cav is being ripped apart. They are in tatters at this point, and that was really well played from Tzeentch there. Screamers overlapped that engagement perfectly. Hammer and Anvil, my own Hammer and Anvil, and that is definitely a guaranteed Cav loss over on that side. So, not a great start. Magic trades are not going in my favor right now. Not that they necessarily should. Kairos should objectively be a better mage than my Ice Witch anyway. But the barrier shield is helping these units tank through quite a bit. And it's tough going at the moment. How do we turn it? Well, Kitty Cats are on the case, and with their AP and bonus for large, now that the barrier shield is down on the Chaos Knights, they can put in some serious work. And I think having 2 of them here, one the summon, one the unit that I brought to help protect my Polar Bear Ice Witch, that should be able to do quite a number on the mobility for Tzeentch here. And I'm beginning to break through on their left flank and get into the rear. Another Biting Wind onto the pink horrors. Let's see what it does. It literally only takes down the overshield. Like, that's just not worth it at all. And that is why the overshield's so crazy, because I can completely get rid of it, kill no models, and then the next time I cast a spell, well, they're gonna have the shield again. Meanwhile, my Zargard being forced into their unbreakable state because of Kairos and his pendulums. But the Griffin Legion are through, and they bring with them storm clouds, fire, and steel. Kosovite dervishes also coming in from behind. And now we've got that hammer and anvil we really need to start breaking things wide open over on this side. Chaos Spawn, still a problem. Kairos Fateweaver, very much the biggest issue still to deal with, besides maybe a few of those Chaos Knights. But the entire Tzeentch Horde has crumbled out on their left flank. Burning Chariot just ran out of ammo, will be forced down into melee soon. And the Ice Witch will be free to start casting some more magics on the blobs that are sure to develop in the mid to late stages of this game. And hopefully, that is where we will see Tempest really make its mark. The blue fires a change, shot forth from the Staff of Tomorrow, smacking some Chaos Spawn into booty, just as planned. And what's been a consistent theme this battle, flank charges on top of flank charges, outflanking the flankers, everywhere we turn. First, it was the Dervishes, then it was the Chaos Spawn and Chaos Knights, now the Polar Bear and the Ice Witch are flanking the Chaos Knights who flanked in turn, and the Light Show is really kicking into high gear now. Somehow, we're still in this game. It's been painful, it's been dirty, and the Screamers are still styling on my troops elsewhere, but Kislev has a very strong passive of their own, and being unbreakable when you begin to waver can help stabilize your units when all hope seems lost, and that's what we've done here. We've stabilized. It looked really bad for a while, but the balance bar hasn't gotten out of control, and we still have a shot in the end game here. Now, there are pockets of infantry that are cut off from the rest of the army. They might have difficulty linking up with the Ice Witch. Chaos Spawn are completely isolated. They'll be chopped to pieces, while Kairos and the Burning Chariot plunge down into the scrum and begin terrorizing my infantry over on the other side, some of which have already had their unbreakable passive proc. So Kairos will not efficiently run them down. He is not good in melee, although when he does land an attack, it still hurts really bad. He is a Lord of Change after all, but he will make it difficult for them to rally unless they get some help. Would have been a great time to have some Winged Hussars rally to my Lord and come down the mountainside screaming, save the day, but not going to happen here because there just aren't a whole lot of them left. Mostly just light cav at this point. A few Winged Hussars remaining, but you can only see a few of their wings reaching over the top of that cav contingent. Meanwhile, Tzeentch still has their Air Force, and they have some Chaos Knights, although their Overshield will not be as impactful now. When you lose models, the Overshield is in proportion to your overall health pool, so it won't go up to the level that it was at the start of the battle, but still, that is extra health, and extra health is a problem here because I don't have a ton of damage dealers remaining. But the Ice Witch is still healthy, the Snow Leopard is still healthy, and together they can beat the brakes off of Kairos Fateweaver. So that'll be their game plan. Outduel the Lord, kill him, get the army crumbling. If we can do that, we can win this game. Here we go. Round 2, baby. Blue Horrors, Pink Horrors, Chaos Knight Screamers, and not a whole lot of damage value on my Lord at the moment. A lot more on Kairos, but hopefully, because in the end game, there are blobs forming, a Blizzard on top of that might be able to cause some serious carnage. That is what I'm going to try to do. And then, of course, when Kairos lands, get the Polar Bear and the Snow Leopard on top of him and chunk him to death. So he's going to run down some Zargard. I can't do anything about that. I'll let them die. You did what you could for the motherland. Now die for her. And now's the time, because Kairos is busy chasing stuff off the map. So might as well go right up the center and give him the old what for, see how it all shakes out. Zargard first into the breach. Biting Wind, which has been incredibly disappointing all day long. This time just, they're going to dodge out of the way. Not too hard, but kill half the Overshield at least. Gaze of Fate for the third time from Kairos' game. That will slow down my Kosovite Dervisher aggression. But the Zargard are into melee. Steve Irwin's treacherous murderers are swooping down from the flank, and Pony Riders of the Apocalypse are not far behind. And now we've got an opportunity for Tempest to show its worth. If the infantry dies and leaves Kairos to fend for himself, he's in big trouble. The Blizzard begins. They have no chance to get out of the way, and as that Cyclone puts them in the spin cycle, the Ice Witch and Snow Leopard can pull away and look for an avenue behind Kairos to maybe put him in the dirt for good. Horrors are crumbling out. Everything else for Kislev is wavering and on death's door, but unbreakable for now. And in all the panic that's going on, Snow Leopard can go after the Chaos Knights and start massacring them, because Kairos is running away. And this thing has been beastly in chopping down the Chaos Knights. When their overshield drops, he's right on top of them, or she, I don't know which. But, wait, what? 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 The Chaos Knights are turning into Dis Knights. They're turning into Doom Knights at the moment. Their little ponies are turning into Dis? I don't understand. That's a very weird bug, okay? Burning Chariot and Snow Leopard are duking it out at the moment. Balance Board is in favor of Tzeentch currently, and there's a lot of HP that the Ice Witch and the Snow Leopard must cut through. But Burning Chariot is not amazing in melee. Another Pendulum from Kairos, and he wants to line up for another blue fire of Tzeentch. Is he gonna go for the Mage or for the Snow Leopard? Looked like it was the Mage to begin with, but it got canceled. And now, going for the Snow Leopard, Overcast, and that did so much damage, and that will functionally, as it continues to prey on these Chaos Knights, that will functionally end this as a competition, because without that Snow Leopard, they do not have enough damage to kill Kairos. I don't think the Ice Witch by herself would even beat Fateweaver in a duel 1v1 with their HP bars the way they are currently. Yeah, that's rough. That blue fire hurt a lot, and the Burning Chariot is still full HP too, so it's too much now. Kislev did what they could, but Kairos Fateweaver has proven to be a formidable opponent and enough to send the forces of Kislev back to the motherland, empty-handed and or disemboweled, discombobulated, and dead. Those are some really cool animations. I don't know exactly how that works, but yeah, he's drawing like pentagrams around his opponent. She falls, and it's over. Okay, so, couple things to point out in this one. Obviously, the cav engagement on my left flank was disastrous. It looked really good. It was well executed. I just didn't see the screamers, and I did not... I knew there were screamers on the field, but I only saw the ones on his left flank, and I thought I was fine to go in. Instead, those Chaos Knights ended up surviving for a long-ass time, and I got rear charged by screamers, and the Winged Lancers just melted. Needed to be more defensive with my cavalry in this one. Especially with screamers overhead, they just turn cav fights so quickly and flank so easily, and you can't charge them because they're flyers. So you gotta be more patient with the cav fight. Use them in reserve. If I hold on to them for mid and late game, I'm in a way better position to take that game. It is difficult though, because I mean, think about how many ranged troops are susceptible to light cav in Warhammer. Almost all of them, right? High Elf Archers, Glade Guard, what have you. If they get hit by light cav that costs 500 gold, they die. Blue Horrors and Pink Horrors don't die. They're unbreakable. They're like Vampire Coast Chaff, but they actually have melee defense and an overshield that prevents them from taking damage. That makes it really hard to shut them down. And that is the issue I've had facing off against Tzeentch in quite a few games so far, and playing with them too. It can be really challenging to get through that barrier shield while you're being blown up by magic, shot by a bunch of cheap fodder that's hard to kill, and you just can't route anything because they're all demons. So yeah, I think Tzeentch will present some serious issues for quite a few factions in Game 3. That might change once we get more Mortal Empires races in there too, and I'm sure balance will change as well. But at the moment, Tzeentch seems really strong. I am not impressed with the lore of Tempest much at all. I think lore of Ice isn't an amazing lore either. But yeah, the damage spells here are just... Again, part of it is just because of the overshield. But yeah, they really... I had the one really cool Blizzard on the 2 units of Horrors that did an okay amount of damage. But for the amount of Winds of Magic, just probably... Not, I mean, it is not comparable to what Lore of Shadows or some of the other lores we already have can do. So, interesting game. Really fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and plenty more Warhammer 3 content on the way.